Hi loves, how are you loves doing today? I am going to be doing the weekly voted video by the Patreons. They voted for a divination video this week. So I thought, especially since last night's live, that it would be very appropriate for us to talk about a little bit of kind of beginner level, especially because I have a lot of people who are like beginner, baby witches, who are looking through my channel, and I do want them to have some content to look at where in regards to what they should be aware of. So today we're going to talk about something that's super basic but definitely needs to be understood in order to kind of use the divination skill as best and as productive as you can, because at some point we all either end up having our own tarot deck or we all pull cards for ourselves. There is a natural curiosity to wanting to pull cards, especially if you are which you just end up, even if you just have a Rider-Waite or you just have an Oracle deck, you do end up pulling one out. So today we're going to be talking about what the difference is between tarot and Oracle decks specifically, okay? So the first thing to kind of note about what the difference is, tarot has a lot of cards, okay? Even my most bulkiest Oracle that I have right now, which I think is the Enchanted Map, this one has 54 cards in here, and it's still not as extensive as the tarot. Tarot is a little bit more in depth. It's supposed to cover a plethora of different issues and every aspect of life itself. And so when you're looking at what's happening in the journey that the Fool takes through the tarot, the Fool being the first card in the tarot, which is the 0. Let me just find it for y'all. But as we go through the journey of the Fool through the tarot, because we are represented as the Fool, we then can see what energies are at play, what elements are at play, how it astrologically coincides with what we're going through, what we need to kind of move, like are we going into a trap, are we moving forward in a positive direction, what is coming in, what is the energy around a specific situation. It's very, very extensive in the information that you can get from going on the Fool's journey. And because it has so much deep knowledge and every single card has deeper meanings, deeper symbologic symbols to it, you can pick up, especially with your intuition, you can pick up way more information from the tarot. Tarot is seen as just a traditional tool when it comes to, when you're talking about like, oh, tarot cards. Traditionally, a lot of people kind of just lean towards the Rider-Waite because that is kind of like the, that's the foundation, that's the Beyonce of tarot. It is, the Rider-Waite, which is this deck. I have the Universal Rider-Waite, so it has a different back to it. But this is basically considered the basis of all other tarot decks. So even if you were to pick up a different tarot deck, maybe you didn't, at first you didn't really want to get this one, you wanted to get something else, I would still recommend you picking up this deck because all other tarot decks are based on this deck. So there is kind of a lot to be said about the impact of this deck and the symbology, the astrological factors, all of the messages that you can get from it, what the depictions are telling you, and how, depending on what question you're asking, how that thing is manifesting. Because in many different, depending on what the question is, this could look so different to what the answer is. It's not just one meaning, one solid message. It's not just like, okay, you just need to hear this, like that. That's not what it is. Tarot is very much a tool for the discipline to really take in and dissect and study, because there's so many different ways to read the cards. And right off the bat, I know a lot of readers always say, like when you get the Rider-Waite, just throw the whole book away. I still recommend reading it because you just do want to know what, what others consider to be the foundations of each card. You want to have some sort of foundational knowledge from tarot. So I do recommend reading it, but at a point you will have to disconnect from the book and actually, based on the questions you're asking, connect with each card and intuitively pick up the message that the messages that are coming forward. So tarot tends to be a little bit more intensive. It's more you get more knowledge from it, you get more information from it, you're getting more you're kind of able to really look at things on a 360 level, where you can see everything from both sides, how other people are feeling in the situation, all of these type of elements to it, where your spirit is, or how your emotions are doing. Like every suit, especially in tarot, because there are 4 suits, dictate like a different part of, you know, life. Pentacles being the physical realm, money, finances, root chakra work. So it really talks about also energetically areas of opportunities that you do need to address. The water suits all about emotions, all about spirituality as well. How we're feeling through things, how we're just connecting, any traumas that we're holding. Then we have the swords, which is all about the mind and how we also relate to other people and our communication, our mental energy, and how we're, you know, navigating through that energy. Then we have like the wands, which is our passion and our drive, our journey, how we're navigating through life, how we want to be seen in the world, what we're working towards. Are we getting there? Like what does that look like? Our intention in many ways is connected to the solar plexus. So there's a lot of work that you can do with the tarot, where it's a little bit more, breaks things down for you a little bit more, and it helps develop your intuitive skills as well. Now, when it comes to oracle decks are meant to be a little bit more as additional messages. They're supposed to be like used in, you know, with the tarot in order to pull more messages within the reading, or you can use it by itself if you just wanted like a quick kind of read, or a quick like, hey, message from spirit, something like that. But it's not as extensive within the knowledge that you can get in versus the tarot. There are some witches that will, you know, that I personally know, some readers that use the oracle as a tarot deck, which makes no sense to me, but you know, to each their own. And they end up reading the oracle deck completely different than the meaning of the oracle deck. Which if you understand what I'm saying, when it comes to tarot, you do have to have a study of each card. When it comes to the oracle decks, they can be a little bit different, because for the most part, you are supposed to follow the book that it comes with. The meaning of each card, while you can use your intuition to add additional messages, the book to the card is kind of the Bible to the card, because heavenly signs, for example, this is the card that comes up here, depending on what the reading is, heavenly signs, it's first of all, it's 2 words. You can take a lot from just saying heavenly signs, but hold on, let me find because they're not numbered, so it's gonna take me a minute, but let me find the page for it, so I can read you heavenly signs, because, hold on. No. Hey, was that it? No. Oh, right here. Have you been seeing, hold on. Let me lift up the card for you, because we're gonna do this. Okay. Have you been seeing a lot of butterflies lately, dear one? This card comes to you as one of many signs you're receiving from the above to let you know that you're loved and watched over. Heaven frequently dispatches butterflies to signal that a passed on loved one is happy and sending you encouragement. Additional signs may include birds, feathers, rainbows, and something else in nature. Or your signs might involve coins, music, or other human-made items. You ask to notice and trust these signs so that you'll feel heaven's presence in your daily life. When you know that you're watched over and loved, you feel safer and more secure following the path of your dreams. Additional meaning: an anniversary or birthday, answered prayers, achieving big dreams, one little step at a time. So if you kind of take it upon yourself to kind of use, you know, this card, just kind of like the same as tarot, there is a study that comes with tarot and looking at what's happening in the picture versus an oracle card where something is almost still and they're telling you what it means, what is connected towards, which means that a portion of your intuitive aspect is being kind of confirmed on the spot with the message itself. So for example, if you asked about what, you know, like whether or not you should work on a project, and you know, you wanted more information about like, is it a yes or a go for spirit, and then you got the card join in, then you got the green light, right? It's a very simple, like, hey, this is the answer. It's not about like saying, it's not going to tell you, okay, well, the dynamics between your coworkers is going to look like this. The dynamic between the people, you're going to have to probably put a little bit more effort into it. If you do this, it's going to help you progress in that group, and you can end up in a leadership position. Like, there's so much things that tarot will be able to tell you that the oracle deck will not be able to tell you. It'll just be like, join in. You know, do you get what I'm trying to say? So when it comes to that, you do have to use the book itself so you can get, you know, those additional messages and see what the intention behind the card is, because when it comes to oracle decks, there is an intention behind each card. While tarot can be more intuitively and flexible to messages, oracle decks have their own meanings to the card. So you do have to respect the intention that somebody put into the work that they put in, and see what the message it is that they're giving you. A lot of the times oracles work as confirmations to what the reading was with the tarot cards. That happens to me all the time, but I don't always read the book, and that's because the message is very, very clear. And especially depending on which tarot card I'm using, it really depends. The message could be super, super, super clear, so I might not need to kind of do all of that and like read the book or something like that. Now I'm going to talk about different types of oracle cards, because you will find that different oracle cards kind of push you in different directions. For example, this is the Flowers from the Dead oracle deck, and this one has, how many cards is it? I'm not sure how much it is, but I know it's a lot of them. It's not written in the back. I know it's a good amount of cards, because this is like a deck. I mean, it's a pretty thick kind of deck. But these don't come with a book, a guidebook at all. But the cards come at the bottom with about 2 words in regards to what connects this skull of the animal in question, and what that skull and that animal is, the message is representing. And from that, you have to use your intuition to then pull down more messages, especially also connected to the different animals that you're getting, because different animals to you might mean something else. So that the fact that these are really, really highlighting animal messages and animal spirits have a different energy to just using a really basic like oracle deck, where it's just this means that and that's it, you know, kind of like type of vibe. So with this, you do have to be a little bit more into, like, you do have to use your intuition a little bit more to pull down those messages. Now, let's talk about some other ones that I have. This one, the Ascended Masters Oracle deck. So this one specifically, when I'm using this, because it deals with Ascended Masters, while it has the guidebook as well, and you are feel free to use the guidebook as you see fit. The thing about this one is when you're attaching a certain persona to an oracle card deck, you do have to pay respects to those spirits that you're using. So I address the Ascended Masters Oracle deck and my specific kind of oracle decks, which we're going to talk about in a second, a little bit differently than other decks, because I'm using different energies here. So for example, we have Mother Mary, nurture yourself. So she would be a different energy than Saint Germain. That would be a completely different energy. And because you are having so many different types of energies coming in with the Ascended Masters, you want to pay attention to why they're coming up for you as well. So if you, for example, feel called to work with them directly on the issue that you are using this deck for, especially like if you have an Archangel Michael Oracle deck, or like any of the angels, or like for example we're going to be talking about the Goddess Guidance Oracle deck. So like it's pretty much the same thing, because this is very goddess heavy base. If I'm pulling a specific goddess with this that is coming up and showing up to answer the question that I'm asking, then I'm also gonna go out of my way afterwards to, you know, connect with that deity themselves, because they are trying to connect with me and answer my question. So obviously if they're already pulling up to, you know, give advice, then that's what it's gonna look like. Now this also applies to the Isis Oracle. Now this Oracle deck is a little bit different than other Oracle decks, and the reason why that is because the book that it comes with, it's not just, you know, every card has a meaning, but you do, again, it goes back to reading the guidebook, because in here there's literally like every single card has about 2.5 pages of information on the card, on rituals that you need to do for it, meditations that you can do per card that's jumping out in order to address the energy that you're calling upon. The Isis Oracles is a very spiritual deck, and so it's really about this helps to elevate a lot of like the spiritual studies, even though hashtag is very whitewashed, but anyway, so there is still a focus on spiritual development, because Osset is I've spoke about this before and you guys know this. She is very, very much about spiritual development. She is a powerful manifestor, powerful witch on her own right, powerful high priestess, and so working with her energy, and especially looking at her oracle deck, it tends to be very spiritually leaning. So this deck specifically helps you with your spiritual development. And so when it comes to working with each card, like for example, if you get Brothers in Darkness, overcoming negative energies with feminine power, and you're just like, okay, so I guess I have to work on feminine energy. No, you have to go and read the book and see what it says about working with this, and then what the advice that is giving you, because also in the book there's literally an incantation that it does, especially depending on what card it is. There's an incantation to Osiris in this. There's an incantation for the power to conjure in this, and then it also guides you through a meditation that you can do for each card, and it has an extensive meaning for each card. It's like 2.5 pages, so you want to know what the card is saying, so not only do you connect with the deck itself a little bit easier and better and more deeply, but then you're also understanding what the card is saying, not what you're intuitively trying to attach to the card. Because if somebody sees, oh, overcoming negative energy with feminine power, it's like, oh, you need to do protection work. Oh, just like a simple answer, when it's actually very intensive and you need to read the guidebook. So that's one of the things that I wanted to know, because I wanted you guys to make sure you knew what the difference is, because there's some oracle decks that can be very intuitive, and some that aren't, and that do require you to, you know, kind of pay respect and really work with the guidebook in order for you to understand like what's going on. The other one that I wanted to talk about is the Sacred Symbols Oracle deck. This was made by one of my lovely BRUJA witchy friends on Instagram, Marcella Kroll, and these babies right here are definitely something that not only can you use the guidebook for, but you can also work with intuitively, because they tend to land in a way that is very much confirming the reading, or adding an element to the reading that you also that is like an additional messages at the same time. So a lot of the time I don't use this with the guidebook, even though I know what the guidebook says. I don't use it with the guidebook, and I'm not like looking for what the meaning is, just because it's usually, a lot of the time, it's confirmation and it's right on the money for what, you know, what we needed to talk about. So that's how I work with. There's some oracle decks that you'll feel comfortable enough to kind of, especially because I use my oracle decks in combination with tarot, that I just kind of read really, like I can read them really fast, and I can see why they landed really fast as well. So you just have to be like aware of that and how you're vibing with an oracle deck. Because if you're not like super comfortable, you're getting to know one and, you know, stuff like that, you might feel a little bit overwhelmed. So you just want to be, you know, like, okay, let me get to know what I'm doing. The other one that I want to talk about is the Zodiac Oracle. This one I don't use the book a lot because I'm an astrologer, so bye. I opened it the first time just to see like what was up, what, you know, what it said, but it's not like a lot of super information or anything. But I use this to channel specifically planetary energies, and you guys know this during the weekly healing circles and during the monthly chakra healing videos and such, and also during readings as well. But I use these to not only, in addition to tarot, they add for me a planetary emphasis to specific things while I'm using the tarot deck. So for example, if I'm getting a lot of pentacles and I'm seeing like almost half of the spread that I did for a reading or for you guys or something, it's like half of it is pentacles, and then I see Capricorn or Taurus land or Jupiter or even Venus land, I'm gonna be like, okay, well definitely this is more physical realm related. Like I'm able to see like what planetary aspects are at play, and then it also helps for me to communicate to you guys, hey, check your transits, check to see how this planetary energy is affecting you guys, so you guys are aware of that. So this I use differently than, you know, I mean, it's just gonna tell you what the planets are in the, you know, simple. But the way you use it, the way you apply it, it's a little bit more flexible. I hope that makes sense. The last oracle deck that I want to talk about, it's one of my favorites. I love this deck. This is a really old deck. This is the Gypsy Oracle cards. They're kind of a little bit rare to find here and there because they're usually like, they get sold out really fast. This one comes with a guidebook as well. I don't use the guidebook for this one. The definitions for it, like the meanings for it are very like small anyway. It's like a really small, you know, abridged version, so you do have to intuitively connect to these as well. But if you are feeling like you're a little bit confused or surprised why that card came up, you can always refer to the guidebook if you want to get that additional download. But these I use in addition to tarot, especially when it comes to energies that have to do with other people. Like if I get a reading and somebody's like, I want to know what's going on with my family's dynamic, with my friend situation, like I don't know, things have been kind of moving funny, I just have questions, so I will pull out this deck so I can see what's going on, because it has a lot of different elements, like foe, enemy, journey, surprise, like it has different kind of, it's just one word, but that one word helps to connect to what is going on. I hope that makes sense. It is very direct, it is very bold, it is very like to the point, but I really like it because it helps me confirm a lot of the things that I'm getting messages wise. So that was it. I hope that makes sense. I hope that, you know, you feel a little bit more comfortable playing with oracle decks. Also, you know, I can't say playing with the tarot's too serious, but at least playing with the oracle decks and seeing what and understanding what the difference is and why, you know, there is a flexibility with oracle decks that tarot, well, there's a lot of flexibility with tarot, but I feel like with oracle decks there's times to be flexible with it, and there's other times where you really have to kind of stick to the source material, because oracle decks, you have to understand that there are intention cards that basically somebody printed with their intentions that you are now given to use within that, you know, parameter of their intentions. So you do have to understand and kind of respect that type of work, because that is crafting a whole deck. It's work. It is a lot, and it can, you know, bring up a lot of different things depending on what the reading is and what the questions are and stuff like that. So you want to have some understanding of what the differences are, how to use them, and when to be flexible with it. And definitely get to know your decks, because every single deck has a different energy, a different vibe, a different spirit. My tarot deck, she's sassy. Okay, she's sassy. She's sassy and blunt, but that's how I like her. But she has definitely her own energy. She's very bold. Where oracle decks can be a little bit more gentle depending on what, you know, which oracle deck you're using. You guys know I love using this for you guys because the enchanted map, this one, is a very, very like, you know, get it together type of energy, and you guys know because I have used it with you guys for a long time. So that one has a different vibe than, you know, the butterfly oracle deck. This one's a little bit lighter. So you do have to understand like the different energies of your decks and how to use them better and how you want to work with them as well. Because if you want to kind of flip it up and do something a little bit different and take the meaning away from what the source material is for oracle decks, I mean, you have to do you, but at the same time you should understand and have a foundation of what those meanings are. So yeah, so I hoped that this makes sense. I will definitely see you guys in the next video. Do not forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Patreon as well, because we're always learning and growing over there, and this was a patron voted video. I'm about to post up the Book of Shadows weekly prompt is about to go up, so they're about to get that, and this video is about to go up as well, and then I'm going to be doing the poll for this week's video poll so they can vote as well. So lots of things happening. I will definitely see you guys in the next one. Have a beautiful day, and yeah, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. Bye.